everyone, and welcome to Positive by Design. Good people talking about real shit and easy to implement success methods. Hosted by Social Jane Media, brought to you by yours truly, Sarah Glenn. I am the creator and CEO of Social Jane Media, a certified social media marketing expert and the branding specialist that many entrepreneurs turn to. If you're looking for inspiration from other entrepreneurs and high-vibing humans, you're in the right place. So settle in, get comfy, and let's get started. In today's episode, we are going to talk about conversations that convert and what this looks like when building authentic connections with your audience. Who has been ghosted in Facebook Messenger? I'm pretty sure if you're an entrepreneur that has been doing this online building of a business for the last year or two, guarantee you've been ghosted on Messenger at least once. We all have. And you know what? At this point, it's part of the journey because unfortunately there are so many people out there that are just being taught to spam to spam their audience. And that's not what we're about. Definitely not in the Social Jane community. And if you're new to listening to these episodes and to the trainings that are inside of the community, you know that leading with value is 100% the positioning that we're coming from. Because I myself am quickly being known for someone who provides a lot of value. And I don't ask for a lot in return. Really, all I ask for in return is that you say yes to us making that connection. And that might mean capturing an email or asking if you'd like to get into my Facebook group. And those aren't salesy tactics. Those are just avenues that we can continue to communicate and build our relationship. So when I say conversations that convert, I don't necessarily mean all of a sudden you've converted them to a sale, they've bought your thing, and you're done. You wash your hands of it. No, that's not what I mean. When I say convert, I mean simply taking them to what is the natural next progression in the relationship. So if you've only just met this person and you have, your very, very first interaction with them, interaction number 2 is very unlikely that it will be a sale. Why can't it be some level of value that you provide so you can immediately start to become a valuable and positive resource for them? Because this is definitely one of the fastest ways for people to start remembering you is by becoming a valuable resource to them. Because you in turn will start becoming the person they think about when they are thinking of purchasing something, or maybe they run across some kind of question or roadblock in their business or in their life. You're going to start to be that little light bulb for them where they're like, oh, I'm going to go check out Sarah's page because she always has some sort of valuable information that can help me work through whatever I'm struggling with right now. And that's really the ultimate goal. You want to be the logical answer to your audience in really whatever capacity that looks like. So conversations that convert can start from a lot of different avenues. It can start from commenting on a post that you see. It can start in Messenger. Even if you've never commented on their post before, it can start in Messenger, but in a very human and organic way, right? Maybe you're wishing them happy birthday, or maybe they've just friended you, and instead of simply just accepting the friend request and then potentially never seeing them or their content again, you actually pop over into Messenger and you simply say, hello, and thank you so much for getting us connected. I hope you have a fantastic week. just open the conversation, because then the conversion is much more likely down the road. So, what I've been doing lately, and this has really been a fantastic way for me to grow my network and just start some great conversations with people, is sending birthday messages. This is not something I was doing in the beginning because it seemed tedious and it didn't seem productive to me. So I just didn't do it. But I can honestly tell you that I have grown my Facebook group over 200 people by simply utilizing a birthday message. And I'm doing it in a way that feels really organic to me because it's opening up a conversation. It's allowing me to ask the question of, I have this free value that I have created. It made my life a little bit easier. It's your birthday. I would love to give you something. Would you like to check it out too? A lot of people say yes because there's no strings attached to it. The few that say no, no problem. No problem at all. I let them know that thanks anyways for, chatting with me. Maybe I'll go into their page and I'll comment on a few things just so there's that extra level of support that they feel like they're being seen and heard. I mean, that's really all people really want. Is they want to feel seen, they want to feel heard. And that's exactly what you do when you create these really organic and genuine conversations, because that's what's going to lead to a conversion, to them saying yes to getting into your group, to them saying yes to buying your product or buying your service, whatever the case may be. It all starts with a conversation. And yes, you can make a post, and yes, you can get a sale from that. But if your content isn't creating conversations, creating kind of that back and forth, and maybe asking some questions, giving something for people to think about, then maybe rework how you're showing up on social. Because the whole point of creating content is not to just put something out there and just be like, okay, it's beautiful, look at it. No, we want people asking questions, being inquisitive, and wanting to see more and hear more about what you're talking about. And so sometimes that means you ask a question in your post. Sometimes that means you give that invitation of starting a conversation. And sometimes that just means you're providing really massive value and asking for nothing in return. So I wanted to run through a couple of my go-to coaching strategies when I am speaking with my clients about what that kind of value is for them. Because a lot of people get stuck here when it comes to being a valuable resource to your audience. A lot of people just close right up. And it makes them nervous because everybody's gut reaction is usually, well, I'm not really that good at anything. Well, I'm not really an expert at that. Oh, well, nobody wants to hear me talk about XYZ. Well, honestly, I say this with love, you're wrong. But you're so right in being that valuable resource for your audience. Like, you are the person that somebody is waiting for. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And if you're coming across a lot of people that seem to be not vibing with what you're providing, it probably means that maybe you just haven't really tapped into that innate, unique skill that you have. Like, maybe what it is that you're trying to mask your abilities based on all these exterior kind of trends that social media is telling you to be. But really, when it comes down to it, let's just be uniquely ourselves. It's kind of hard to do. I know you've heard me talk about this before in this podcast, but it's hard to be authentic. And honestly, that really boils down to some deeply subconscious ingrained beliefs that we probably had as children that we got from our parents, from our teachers, from the adults we surrounded ourselves with, right? Most of that we didn't have a choice of. It was just sort of placed on us. And that's such as life, right? That just happens. But now, as adults, we know better. So we can choose differently. If the story that was placed on us long ago doesn't work for us anymore, cool. That's a good thing. It is a little scary to approach because then it means there's some kind of messy work to be done. But on the other side, oh, so good. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting off topic a little bit. You get me talking about mindset and just like living as your full authentic self. I can go on for days. So we're gonna dial it back a little bit to talking about what does it mean to lead with value and how can you turn that value into conversations that convert. So I would like you to consider what kind of lead magnet or freebie you're offering to your audience. Like, ask yourself, are you offering anything right now? There's a really, really large percentage of people doing business online that are not offering any kind of free value whatsoever. They're showing up with the expectation that somebody is going to buy from them without them providing any kind of value. All they really are is a shop link. And I mean, most people just aren't attracted to that, I'll be honest. I think in 2020, so when the pandemic hit and life was very quickly transitioned to being online only, essentially, I think those kinds of tactics totally worked because people were just online anyways. They were depressed, they were bored, they were all the things, and they saw a link to shop and they saw one testimonial post about how something worked well for somebody else, and they're like, okay, great, I'm going to buy the thing because I'm feeling so desperate right now. Everybody was feeling really desperate then. But 3 years later, a lot of people are still doing the same thing and it's not working. They're noticing that their business has totally plummeted, but they don't know how to fix it because they weren't taught how to fix it, right? They sort of accidentally skyrocketed to the success and then weren't taught all of the little ins and outs that building a sustainable and a successful business takes work. And it takes you showing up as your authentic self and becoming a really valuable resource for your audience. That is what's going to win in this new stage of building a business online. Authenticity, value, 100%. I see it everywhere. I see the shift starting to happen, and it really makes me super excited because it means we're starting to get to know people again. It means we're starting to figure out how to create these human connections over the internet. There's been this weird kind of limbo, I think, where we obviously know how to create connections face to face, right? You see somebody in a coffee shop and you maybe have seen them before, or they order the same drink as you smile at them, maybe you start some like small conversation, maybe it turns out that you have something in common. We all know how to do that, right? But coming on to social media, it's like there was this weird filter, not to use the word filter as in like, Instagram filters or something. That's not what I meant. But it's like there's this veil, I guess that's a better way to say it, of that people placed between their real life and what they look like on social media. And I don't know, there was this strange misconception that your life on social media was different than your real life. And I think a lot of people got really lost in that, got super, super lost in that mentality. And unfortunately, it trended for a while, and I think it's always going to sort of be a trend of that social media is this um, 2.0 version of your life. To be honest, I wholeheartedly believe that the people that will find sustainable success online are the ones that show up truly and authentically as themselves, the messy bits and all, because that's what people relate to. Nobody is perfect. Nobody. Even the most perfect looking influencer on Instagram still shows up with messy hair sometimes, still wakes up in the morning with bad breath, right? We're all human. So, can we please just remove that veil of fake, funky vibes? Let's be real, y'all. So, I've got a couple questions that I'm going to leave you with. And these are some questions that you can jot down, right? If you're listening and not driving and all the things, you can jot these down, revisit it later, save this episode, come back to it, um, whatever the case may be for you. But the information is here to always come back to. So, some of these questions, what they're going to do is they're going to help reveal to you what kind of free value is going to be the most effective for you specifically. I can't be the one that tells you what value piece you need to provide for your audience. That needs to come from you. And the reason for this is because it needs to be something you're innately passionate about. And I can't decide that for you. You have to decide that for yourself. So, a couple questions that I would like you to ask yourself. What comes easy to you? And what do people always ask your advice on? So, this might be absolutely anything. Like, do not keep your mind limited to your business. Think about your entire life. What have people always come to you and ask your advice about? And what's something that throughout many points in your life you've recognized, oh, that was really easy for me. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Jot down some ideas, some words, some phrases, some moments in time that you remember these things about yourself. And then you're going to use that knowledge to help you build out a value piece. Another question I would like you to think of is, what were some things that you were struggling with 3 to 5 years ago? And then, what was the solution that you found for those struggles? Again, do not limit this to your business. This is life, this is business, this is everything. I can honestly say that the person I was 3 to 5 years ago is unrecognizable to who I am today, but I still know her, right? I still visit her in my mind every so often because we all have these moments in our life that we're always going to remember. And 3 to 5 years ago, I was absolutely living right smack dab in the middle of the biggest struggle of my life. I mean, it honestly was, I look at it now and it was like an identity crisis. And I don't think I recognized that then, but everything about my life just wasn't quite right. And I felt like I was spinning and I felt like I couldn't find a solution. And it was really, really hard. But I mean, I was really good at putting on a good show, showing up with a smile at work and all the things. But I think that's really a trauma response from my childhood, is that I've always been good at kind of compartmentalizing stress and trauma. Not saying that's a good thing, that's something I'm working through. But think about what you were struggling with 3 to 5 years ago, and then think about the solutions you found for those struggles. Jot down your ideas because this is going to help you build what kind of value you can bring to your audience. And then lastly, what I want you to think about is, what is something that just completely lights you up. Something that when you're talking about it, time flies. You could be talking about it for 2 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, and you wouldn't know the difference because you're just having a grand old time. And this is not selling. This is, what do you love to talk about? What do you love to share, collaborate about? What kind of things just really, really light you up? Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's decorating. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's organization. It doesn't have to be what your business is. So allow yourself to think outside of the box, because this exercise is really to help you expand your mind so you can start to really see from like a bird's eye view how freaking awesome you are and how much value you truly have to bring to people. Because we are not of the mindset that we are not enough anymore. So take these questions, come back to this episode, write out your answers, use it like the tool that it is, and this will help you discover that value piece so you can then start having conversations that convert.
Okay, everyone, I hope you found this episode helpful. I would absolutely love to know your biggest takeaways. And if you're looking to inspire a fellow entrepreneur, perhaps you could share this episode with them, or even take a screenshot of yourself listening to it and tag us in your stories at Social Jane Media. Positive by Design is brought to you by Sarah Glenn, CEO of Social Jane Media, the branding and business coaching agency that teaches you how to discover your authentic brand, lead with value, and build the business you desire. If you're ready for more, head over to the Social Jane community. Link is in the show notes. I'll see you inside.